different people in the NFL about who they feel are the top players at the position. Is this a reward for what have you done or the expectation? Because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be good. I think he'll be fine for the Jets, but I'm sitting here just thinking straight quarterback. Next year, you're taking Aaron Rodgers or Brock Purdy. You're taking Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. You're taking Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence. And, these conversations sometimes you go, oh, of course I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers over those other guys because it's Aaron Rodgers. But I think we're putting, like, the modern medicine, what you guys go through and get back on the field, it's crazy. Like, we expect you tear your knee, you tear your Achilles. Oh, we'll see in a year and it will be good. I just think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on that, especially with a 40-year-old quarterback. Now, it's different. He's playing quarterback. We're not asking him to run routes. We're not asking him to run the football 20 times per game. So that's why I think that Aaron Rodgers coming back can be successful. I think the league's in a pretty good spot where if Aaron Rodgers isn't a top 10 quarterback right now, I think that does speak well about the talent at the position.
Yeah, and JJ, Aaron Rodgers don't do that Western medicine stuff.
No.
So, whatever.
He knows what he was on.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure he's going to be tested a little bit more if he starts coming back and, we're seeing a Green Bay version of him. But no, it's interesting. Like you said, again, you have a guy like Brock Purdy who some people should have high on their list. Other people don't. When you look at quarterback talent compared to, what he has around him, there's that discrepancy. But again, there's nothing like winning football games. I think that should be the number one stat because, again, when you're going into training camp and you're starting the NFL season, you're not looking at, what am I doing statistically unless you're looking for a second contract, unless you're playing on that franchise tag, unless you're trying to get even more of a bag. But for everybody else is, okay, are we winning football games? How close are we to, going to the Super Bowl? So when you have a guy like Brock Purdy who's, comes in, shown in his rookie year, he could be the guy, ultimately gets hurt in the championship game, going into the championship game. Then they come back and they run it back with him, and he played very, very well in the Super Bowl. Just not Patrick Mahomes because nobody is. So when you have those guys, Trevor Lawrence, who's playing in a down AFC West conference, with the Titans, with the Colts, it's just one of those things where you should have elevated quarterback play by everybody else. And if Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets can just get a little bit something out of him, I think what's interesting is also Justin Herbert, who hasn't had that success of winning football games, but he has the talent. And even now with the Chargers, they don't have a Keenan Allen anymore. I don't even think they have Austin Eckler no more, a Mike Williams. So, then now the talent that he was surrounded with, that the expectations increase now that he doesn't have that, and they still have him number 6. So it's just, one of those things is, are we talking futuristic or are we talking about what they've done?
And one of those quarterbacks on this list is dealing with that giant question. Can he win on the biggest stage? The league thinks he's a top 10 quarterback, but this franchise, their fan base might be done with him. So the question is, yes or no, are you picking his team, or is there going to be a big rebound from their division rival in the NFC? So we'll dive into that next. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by Quality by DiLorenzo.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indy Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
So what motivates you? Is it the doubters? Is it the haters? Or can you tune all that out? Everyone's different. Some people are fueled by it. And if we look at the NFC East this upcoming season, I think there's plenty of doubters that are going to be fueling the Cowboys quarterback who came in at number 10 on the top 10 quarterbacks list put out by ESPN. They surveyed executives, coaches, and scouts in the NFL. And we know with Dak Prescott, it's about the postseason. Can he lead the Cowboys to an NFC championship? Can he win the big game? Multiple postseason victories. That's the holdup. Because when you watch Dak Prescott in the regular season, he puts up the numbers. 12-win team. Division winners last season. But now it's kind of a wait-and-see mode, and it does feel like Dallas is saying, hey, Dak, go out there and win some playoff games, and then we'll give you that $55, $60 million contract extension you're looking for. And then you have a team that let the division slip away last year in the Philadelphia Eagles that started off great and then collapsed down the stretch. Well, they got a new toy in the backfield, Saquon Barkley. And Barkley said that anyone that tells you that you don't get motivation from naysayers is lying. You see everything. Even if you block it out, you make stuff up in your head. The motivation comes from me wanting to be great. And so Saquon goes from the Giants to the Eagles. The Eagles are looking for a big bounce back. Do you trust Jalen Hurts in an offense? Well, they made a Super Bowl appearance. They have A.J. Brown. They have Devontae Smith. They're even better in the backfield. In Dallas, a lot of people say they took a step back because you heard Jerry Jones say they're all in. Well, they didn't do anything this offseason. They haven't even locked in the other franchise players. If you have some hesitation, if you have some doubt on Dak Prescott, okay, what about CeeDee Lamb? What about Micah Parsons at least locking in the future of your franchise? So who you buying, who you following in the NFC East? It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. And it wasn't long ago, Cy. I think just last year, a lot of people were saying Jalen Hurts is the top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Coming off his Super Bowl appearance, what he was able to do, he signed his big contract extension. Now, all of a sudden, he's on the outside looking in. of this list, and this list isn't the end all be all, but I do think it is an interesting look into the mindset of NFL execs and how they kind of balance just straight talent, where they're giving Justin Herbert a ton of credit for being the 6th best quarterback in the NFL, but he doesn't have the postseason success of these guys either. And they're pushing guys that have won the NFC, like Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. Even though we saw Jordan Love do last year down this list. But when you look at the NFC East, and it is going to be fascinating, that battle between Philadelphia and Dallas, because I think the Giants hope to be more competitive with Daniel Jones, but I don't know if there's enough talent top to bottom on both sides of the football. A wild card team to me could be the Commanders. Jaden Daniels being that dual threat. Can he be efficient enough in the passing game? He's going to create some explosive plays with his legs. And player you mentioned that's no longer there for Justin Herbert. Well, now he's in the backfield for the Commanders. You have a veteran like Austin Eckler. You have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. It's pretty good for a rookie quarterback to work with. But let's focus on Dallas and Philadelphia. Who do you trust more this season?
It's tough because, again, when you look at the success Philadelphia had earlier in the season last year and the way that it just spiraled and they weren't able to get over it seemed like they couldn't put 60 minutes of football together, towards the end of last season, which ultimately led them from the number 1 seed or that they had, and then, again, being first in the NFC East to, barely making the playoffs.
And then getting beat by Baker Mayfield and the Bucs.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things that makes you question them coming in. But again, when you add a guy like Saquon Barkley's caliber to your team, a difference maker, somebody who can make explosive plays, you already rely heavily on the run game, and now you have this dude from within your division who has been tearing the league up since he got in, and you add him into your run package, and who could also catch the ball. It's going to be very interesting. But when I look at the Cowboys schedule, I mean, if I'm going to be objective and not include my Steelers, you look at the Browns, the Ravens, 49ers, Lions, Bengals, and then they play the Eagles twice.
Yeah, they're playing a first-place schedule this year.
That's 7 games, and we don't know Dallas as being the team that when their back's against the wall, they come out and they're able to get those W's. Like we haven't seen that. We saw that in Miami. We saw that last year, obviously, with the 49ers. They have success within the division, but when you look at Dallas and them playing outside of it, I like Philadelphia's chances a little bit more.
I think you bring up a really good point on that schedule. And, the NFL, it is a week-to-week league, and there's always so much hope because of the change that we see in the new playoff teams. But I think for Dallas versus Philadelphia in this equation, if we're locking in on those two as the favorites in the NFC East, I do think Philadelphia is primed for a big bounce back this season because of the coordinators. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference for Philadelphia is Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, and Kellen Moore coming in as the offensive coordinator, because they went through multiple coordinators last season. They couldn't settle in, and that's going to happen because you have the success that Philadelphia had, and then Shane Steichen, their OC, got the head coaching job at Indianapolis, and the Colts feel very good about their future, how competitive they were able to be without Anthony Richardson last year, and then they bring him back. And then Jonathan Gannon down there in Arizona, what he was able to do, same thing. No Kyler Murray, but they built a foundation there. And I think that's what's going to be the stabilizing force this year for the Philadelphia Eagles is 2 veteran coordinators coming in. And in this story, one of the things that an NFL official said is the Eagles' offense became stale and it became very predictable. And I think Kellen Moore can help that and get more out of Jalen Hurts. Now, Jason Kelce not being there, that's a big change, man. That was your veteran voice. That was one of the best centers in the league leading an offensive line. But I think when you bring up the schedule, you just bring up the talent. Dallas really holding serve as is versus Philadelphia with getting better at the coordinator positions, adding a Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I think Jalen Hurts will be better overall this year. learning, bouncing back from he did at the end of the last season. And I do think it's Philadelphia's division. That's why it's going to be fascinating for the Cowboys of how they handle the pressure this year with Dak Prescott playing on the final year of his contract, but still on the books regardless if he's playing for the Cowboys or not next year. And then CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Like that's a lot of uncertainty. Like, Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb are going to be around for a while. You're just waiting for when you sign those deals. CeeDee Lamb is saying, hey, I'm going to hold out then. Like, I'm not showing up at training camp. I'm not going to be there. But with all that being said, I trust Dak Prescott still to be the guy that at least is the right voice, has like the right character in this moment for Dallas.
Yeah. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, I would rely more on what can I get from my defense. If Micah Parsons is this player that everybody seems to think that he is, the game wrecker, the game changer that his play has shown him to be early on in the season, but when it comes to late and teams have more time to scheme things up against you, he kind of seems to fade off again in the playoffs. Same could be said for him. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm relying more on my defense. What can I get? We're getting Diggs back, which would be a great help in the secondary. We still have Micah. We have Lawrence. So it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, if my defense can stop Dak, I just need you to keep yourself in the game manager mode. Don't try and win the game, alone. Obviously, they're having running back issues. The Cowboys are. They let go of Tony Pollard. They didn't get Derrick Henry. I think they have Ezekiel Elliott now.
It signed Zeke. He's back.
So he's back, even though everybody was saying how slow he was before he left. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, they're under the gun a little bit, but as long as Dak can just remain in the game changer mode or the game manager mode and allow the defense to make game-changing decisions and plays, I think that will bode well for a good Cowboy season.
505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. When we come back on the other side, we're going to look at some of the young quarterbacks in the game and scheduled to report tomorrow, but not signed. No worries with Caleb Williams. How are some of the veterans feeling about the number one overall pick and the buzz that is surrounding the Chicago Bears' new quarterback? We'll dive into that next here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by FEMA.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it. You make my heart better, better.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet? Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Stroud did what everyone wants number one picks to do. That's immediately change a franchise. Doesn't always happen that fast. What we saw happen in Houston last year was special. But we could see it happen twice in a row because the Chicago Bears, they weren't your traditional number one overall pick team. That pick belonged to Carolina, which they traded for the previous year. But what the Bears have done is load up on talent around their young quarterback. Matt Eberflus, actually the favorite for NFL Coach of the Year. That franchise saw they might have made a mistake with Justin Fields and not investing early in the offense around him. Well, it's a complete 180. They bring in Caleb Williams, and they added Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift in that backfield. DJ Moore was there, Cole Kmet. And how are the veterans feeling about the number one overall pick? It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. And yes, it is almost that time. Camp's opening up in a couple weeks. We'll be watching Football Zero Week right here in Albuquerque. Lobo football opens against Montana State August 24th. And joined this morning by the former Lobo linebacker, just wrapped up 4 years playing at the University of New Mexico, Cy Riley. And you look at the quarterback position, we've been discussing some of the veterans and ranking the top talents in the NFL. Well, you have a guy coming in Caleb Williams, and he's winning people over. Mercedes Lewis is a vet. He's been there, done that in the NFL. He played with Aaron Rodgers, but he was on the Jim Rome show last week. Mercedes Lewis, who's going into a second season in Chicago, he said, quote, from a talent standpoint, he has everything it takes to be great. Obviously, me being a UCLA guy in Lewis, I watched the USC games when he was there. Just the arm talent, the off-platform throws, the leadership on and off the field. I think it's going to serve him well. So you have a veteran buying in to Caleb Williams. And Nasai, you mentioned it. We're seeing the change in the quarterback position. It's the pocket passers that can win off-platform, and more of those guys excelling in the NFL. Do you think Caleb Williams can have a C.J. Stroud-like rookie season? Are those expectations too high, or do we just have to realize what CJ Stroud did last year was something so special?
No, what CJ Stroud did last year was special because, again, when you have a quarterback that's coming from college, you don't expect him to start right away and play out of his mind like CJ did. Obviously, those cases that you can think of that are coming to mind for me RG3, Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger. So you have these kind of one offers that come in. Even Anthony Richardson had a great start to the year last year. Obviously, he got hurt, with concussions in his shoulder. So, he wasn't able to finish the season. But what C.J. Stroud did last year was special. And when I'm looking at the Chicago Bears roster, it can be duplicated again this year with Caleb Williams. They have DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze, which are great pickups in the draft and free agency with Cole Kmet. And then their defense also looks formidable. They have Montez Sweat from the Eagles, Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills, Jalen Johnson, Kevin Byard. Like, they have the pieces there that can lead them to, I don't want to say NFC North titles, but NFC North, wild card contention, being able to get yourself into the mix. Because, again, when you look at the AFC compared to the NFC, you're not going to have teams that are over 500 jockeying for a playoff spot like the NFC. NFC, you're going to get an 8 and 9 team, in your 5 seed, possibly 7 and 10 seed, again, like we saw last year out of the NFC South, as your 4 seed. So you're not going to get that much success when you're looking NFC. So I think it's possible for a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams, who's playing in a tough division but has a formidable roster, not playing in a quarterback-led conference like the AFC is. You're going to have potential out of him. And, for Mercedes Lewis, a dude who's going into his 19th season, something we rarely ever see. I don't know if we've seen it before. Maybe Jerry Rice, because he played out of his mind. Early on he could kind of chill in the back half. When you have somebody who's been around the game for a very long time, I tend to buy into what he has to say.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, too, when you look at the divisions. And C.J. Stroud, he set records last year. 4,108 passing yards. That was the third most in NFL rookie history, just behind Andrew Luck and the one Justin Herbert. You look at what he was able to do, though, too. He led the NFL QBR against zone coverages, beating that at the highest clip. He led the NFL in passing yards per game with a minimum of 9 starts, touchdown interception ratio. So C.J. Stroud checked all those boxes as a rookie. But it's the point you bring up on the division. And I think with Detroit and Green Bay, I'm not expecting Caleb Williams and the Bears to go out there and win that division like the Houston Texans were, and things happen. You saw Anthony Richardson get hurt. Now the Colts were competitive with Gardner Minshew. You saw Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. They were another team that faded down the stretch when they had all the expectations on themselves last season. I think Tennessee be better this year going all in around Will Levis, and kind of that's the difference is Houston. It all clicked at the right time. You hit a home run with C.J. Stroud. That roster ended up being a lot better than we anticipated for a team that was drafting number 1 overall. And it's going to be exciting to see is could we see back-to-back number 1 picks take their teams to the playoffs? And that doesn't happen in this league because when you're drafted number 1 overall, because you're not that good, but the Bears mentioned aren't your traditional number 1 overall pick. What do you think about the rookie quarterback class? 505-246-0610 Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. We come back on the other side. We catch up with a Lobo great, Ramon Martinez, the former Hooper. He was back in the pit yesterday. He is on the Enchantment roster playing in the basketball tournament. We'll talk with Ramon Martinez about his career coming back from major injury and his thoughts on his friend Drew Gordon. Now lost his life recently and why this is so important for Ramon Martinez right now. It's the opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, refractive lens exchange. the latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here, and I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm
the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bob.
Well, it's memories and competition. The Enchantment. You've heard the name. You've been familiar with them over the last few years. Well, they're the alumni team, mainly of Lobo alumni, but that's changed a little bit because schedules, availability. You just know that they're representing New Mexico in the basketball tournament. And what is the basketball tournament? Well, it's become this giant 64-team field, winner-take-all, $1 million prize at the end that we see alumni teams get together. We see veteran overseas hoopers come together and play high-level basketball, and you get a taste of that tonight in the Pit. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Book, joined by the former Lobo linebacker, Cy Riley. He's broadcasting, he's podcasting, he's hanging out with us on the opening drive. We got Bobcat holding it down, producing this morning. Had the opportunity to go out to practice yesterday as some of the alumni Enchantment players started to trickle in to Albuquerque because it's a big one tonight. It's going to be a celebration of basketball, but also a celebration of life, as the Enchantment is using this opportunity to remember 3 Lobos that were lost over the last few months. Ruben Douglas passed away at 44 years old. Greg Brown, former Lobo point guard, passed away at 51 in an accident. And then Drew Gordon, 33, losing his life in an auto accident. And, those all 3 had huge roles, not just with Lobo basketball, within this community. And Cy, I know you're 4 years at UNM. You're one of these Lobo alumni now, and you've invested time. You've became a New Mexican, and just when you spend time at a university, you spend time in athletics, and something that was really just standing out to me yesterday, and it's not new, but just the bonds that you build through sport. When you go through so many things with these guys, it's just evident that your connection to university, but just your connection to your teammates, man, that's a lifelong thing.
Yeah, they become family. More than just teammates. I mean, you do work out and train together and sit in meeting rooms, but over the course of your tenure there, or tenure at the university, you become brothers. You look forward to all the off the field, off the court moments. Growing up with each other. Sometimes you get into a situation where somebody's 4 years older than you, but they're able to relate. You guys are able to relate to the same stuff. You like the same stuff. And when you football, it's 110 guys or so that each have their own stories, their own history. I've unfortunately had to deal with the same thing. Teammates going on and passing, obviously last year with Jaden Hullaby, and 2 years before that, Jeff Blake. Guys that you train with, but also just relate to and become family and brothers with. So it's definitely one of those things that hit a little bit tougher, because again, when you see somebody who you're seeing on a daily basis, has an unfortunate end, it's just, it does something to your mentals.
It's tough, but they will celebrate the memories of those players tonight while also getting ready for the tournament. But Ramon Martinez, he's still hooping. He's 36 years old, and Ramon played 2006 to 2010 at UNM. So it was the first 3 years of the Steve Alford era. That was the last 3 years of Ramon's career, and he was a senior on that Lobo team that went 30-5, went to the NCAA tournament. His teammates, Jarice Gary, Darrington Hobson, just a couple off that roster. He had some good memories, but Ramon Martinez still battling, still hooping, and he also did share his thoughts on Drew Gordon. I was caught up with Roe yesterday.
Ramon Martinez, Lobo, you're a legend, man. You get to play in this arena. Kenny Thomas is balling here. He's coached by you guys. Everyone's saying what's up. What's it like just come back and be in this environment with all these guys?
It's incredible. I'm extremely grateful to come back and see alumni, past coaches, including managers, GAs, and I don't know, come back, play basketball at the pit. It's incredible. And last year was pretty successful for us, so I'm excited to build off that.
Yeah, and for you, I know you mentioned you're playing professionally down in Mexico. How's that been, just trying to fit that in, keep chasing that basketball dream, and as you've grown on and off the court?
Extremely difficult. So I tore my Achilles in 2017. I took 5 years off, and I came out of retirement 2 years ago because of the TBT. So I don't know, this is just a great opportunity for me to continue to play at a high level, at a very high level. And I'm excited to just continue to keep, stay on the floor, compete against high level players. But for me, Mexico was past 2 years of great experience. Get off the couch, play with high level basketball players, Mexico basketball. The league has gotten better. So for me, just honestly grateful.
What was that process like for you? You're a hooper, always a hooper, but to be at that stage in your life and then come back from the Achilles and get back on the basketball floor.
Yeah, it took a lot of mental toughness, running on my own, working out on my own, more than I wanted to, right? But getting out of shape for 5 years is a different deal. So I've been, I have good and bad days, but as long as I get shots up and work out, fine. Being around guys like this, it motivates me.
And get you going. We're talking with Roman Martinez. So when you walk into this building, is there a moment that you immediately think about when it comes to playing in the pit?
Is there a moment? There's a lot of moments for that come to me, but one that comes out to me is my senior night. The fans, my teammates, fans and teammates made shirts for me, and it was just incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. It was my last game playing here, or I thought. Right now I'm playing here more, but official college game. It just was incredible memory for me. I got carried off the floor here, so just surreal.
Yeah, and you look at this experience, just the enchantment, the TBT, what Brandon Mason has done, getting the Lobo alumni together is just kind of what Lobo basketball is all about. Is just that connection that you're just going to have forever.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of kids get done playing, and it's the last time they get a chance to play in the pit here. So it's a good way to get guys together, come back. And for me, this, I didn't say it earlier, but for me, this the reason why I'm playing this year, I didn't plan to play it, was Drew Gordon. My friend passed away a couple weeks ago, and he came out to play when he was out of shape and he had COVID, and he didn't look good. I told him, I was like, hey, man, it might be the end of your career, but he still came out and he still fought for us and did pretty well. So if I have a chance to do half of what he did, that's what I want to do.
All right, lastly for you, Ro, you mentioned Drew, and it's been a hard year just for Lobo basketball overall. But what would just kind of one thing you'd say about Drew Gordon to everybody?
Humble. Right? Big man. He can play. He can jump. He could move buildings and cars, but very humble. I went to his service and saw the NBA players, NBA coaches, NBA friends at his get-together in Portland, and you never known from meeting him and hanging out with him. That's what I loved about him. And for me, just growth, epitome of growth. I mean, college, he started off, he was kind of wild, but then he, as eventually he graduated and played overseas, he learned a lot, and he started teaching me things that I learned from him. So, really humble and humble's the word.
And you really heard Roman Martinez there at the interview get choked up, and it's still so raw and fresh. Drew Gordon, and you just see the friendship that they had, and him just sharing the emotions. Just humble was the word he kept going back to when he's talking about Drew Gordon. And for me, in the sports casting world, man, I've been working in sports like 17 years now, but the early Alford era, that Drew Gordon, Kendall Williams team, those are some of the first teams that I was able to cover in this role. And so, seeing those personalities, learning how to interact with student athletes, Drew Gordon played a big role in that for me, and getting just the couple of chances to be around him in atmosphere. He was a good guy, but then the people that knew him much more closely, much more intently, had that friendship with him. You just hear about the family, and you see that from Drew Gordon to Aaron Gordon, the relationship that they had. I remember Aaron Gordon as young kid, that he came to the pit when his brother was playing basketball. His brother came back, and you saw the connection there, the development in the basketball world of the Gordon family. And Drew Gordon went on to have a really good career overseas. And you mentioned, and one of the things Ro mentioned is he wasn't going to be playing on the Enchantment. He wasn't going to be playing in the TBT, but his friendship with Drew Gordon, the fact that Drew had played on the Enchantment before, that made that commitment to play in this game, he wanted to come back and do it. And Roman Martinez is someone that you see it, man. He is still battling, and I know there's a lot going on in Ro's life that I was talking with him for. So this means a ton to him to be able to come back and play this tournament in memory of Drew Gordon and those other Lobos. But top side, something that you mentioned, unfortunately you've had some former teammates pass away. So anything that you can do to just remember them, it's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, and those memories, sometimes they just find their way from the back of your mind to the front, and you could just be sitting, relaxing, and just start thinking about all the good times that you had, or just a memory that just jumps. And you know, it's
Yeah, man, it's tough because I think, you know, all of us, you know, experienced it in some point. Unfortunately, you know, it's part of life. You know, losing people that are close to you, and then the celebration of those lives is very important, and the memories that pop up. We'll hear more from the Enchantment coming up at 9:00 as Darius Gary, the former point guard. Well, he's going to be on the Lobo alumni team. He's not playing for the Enchantment, but he was out there yesterday, and he'll be running around the pit tonight. But the thing with Darius Gary is, yeah, he was a Lobo legend. He was the point guard that got the Alford era started, was a great player at UNM, but he's got some kids, including his daughter, that are going to start getting some Division I looks. And the smile on his face when I asked him about his kids, it's the biggest smile you're going to get. And fathers understand that. We come back on the other side. Speaking of the Mountain West, some big news yesterday on the football side. What is the trickle-down effect? And so you're saying there's a chance. Yes, there is a chance for Lobo football. Continue the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Allstate.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Then shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been...
KNML app in the Google Play or iTunes App Store. Just search KNML.
There's always a chance it's a new season, but the turnover in the Mountain West Conference, it got messy again. Now, we'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on the transfer portal, but big news yesterday for a team that's in contention to play for a Mountain West Conference title. Are they still in contention? Do you believe in them, or does it open the door for someone else? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by former Lobo linebacker Cy Riley this morning. So news came out yesterday afternoon. There's another new head coach in the Mountain West Conference. Jeff Tedford stepping down at Fresno State due to health issues, and unfortunately it's something we've seen throughout his career, but a tip of the cap to Jeff Tedford with what he's done as a head coach, not just in the Mountain West, but his career overall. When it came to Tedford at Fresno State, he was 45-22, won 2 Mountain West titles in 2 stints at Fresno State. We saw at the end of last year in the bowl game that was played here in Albuquerque, Fresno State, New Mexico State, Tim Skipper was the interim coach there. Fresno State defeated the Aggies. Well, once again, Tim Skipper stepping up to lead Fresno State, as just a few days ago, Jeff Tedford was in Las Vegas representing Fresno State at Mountain West Football Media Days, but he had a consultation with his doctor, talked with his family, and he is stepping away. And now all of a sudden you look down and it's New Mexico, Nevada, San Diego State, Wyoming, Utah State, San Jose State, and Fresno State, all with new coaches going into this season. And 5 of those teams are on the Lobos schedule. And Cy, you guys beat this Fresno State team last year, but you know how good they are overall. Opportunity, though, I think in the Mountain West for a lot of these teams to take advantage of so much change.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because, again, when we played them coming towards the end of our season, you know, we had just lost to Boise. We weren't really, you know, as into it as we should have been. And, yeah, it gave us the opportunity to go and travel and just clear our minds a little bit on that airplane ride over to Fresno State. And then we landed. And, again, a team that we've been very familiar with, played them a lot. You know, seems like every single year, you know, four straight years, at least for myself, that we played them. So a team that you know what they're going to do, what, you know, their roster is going to look like, the players. Now with the transfer portal, you're having a little bit of changeover. So it's going to be a little bit different now. But beforehand, yeah, we knew who we were playing against, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. You could look at the last year's scouting report and see, you know, kind of the tendencies that they would run, especially, you know, the year that you're playing them or the week that you're playing them, you know, see if there are some overlapping things, some key differences or issues that you have to monitor. So, you know, obviously there's going to be a little bit of difference there, but, you know, now with the transfer portal, everything's going to be different. Again, our team has over 60, new roster additions, so you're not going to be able to look into what we did over my time there the past 4 years and say, okay, this is what we can expect out of New Mexico, because, again, you have a whole new coaching staff, brand new players on the roster. You're going to have some key guys like Luke Weissong, like a Devin Dampier, like a Kyler Drake, Gabe Lopez that you have tape on. But, again, these coaches, new players, new team chemistry, it's going to be a little bit different.
It is going to be different, and we're going to dive into that when we come back on the other side. The expectation, do they change a little bit? It's a lot of new. It's 60 new players, but Bronco Mendenhall brings in expectations. He brings in a track record, but with all the turnover around the Mountain West Conference, you should have feeling a little bit better about taking that over with Lobo football. We'll get into that, but it is time. It's Tuesday. It's 8:20, and you know what that means. It's time for our sweet deal. And this one is really sweet because this isn't just for your significant other. Don't fall into that. Don't just hear this sweet deal and go, oh, this is a great opportunity to give a gift to your significant other. No, think about it for yourself. As today's sweet deal, which goes live at 9 a.m. on our website, you can get $150 worth Skin and Soul for just $75. Skin and Soul Beauty Med Spa. Rachel, the owner, is here. Good morning, Rachel. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's been quite a morning. Usually I'm not like a super early bird, so it's a little bit different for me to wake up this early.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, because this is one thing I think you look, of course, a bunch of dudes listening to sports talk radio, maybe, and I'm guilty of it. We don't think about ourselves as much and how something like this could benefit us. But when you look at what you guys do, especially when it comes to skincare and facials, you guys, though, do it specifically. You will help someone, and they come in, you will cater to them, and I think that's a big thing.
Oh, absolutely. And surprisingly, we did have a handful of gentlemen that scheduled appointments on the last sweet deal, so it was a pleasant surprise. I mean, I do have a good amount of male clients already, but, just considering the sweet deal, the station and, majority of the people that are listening are probably males, right?
Yeah.
So, but they definitely took advantage of it, whether it was for themselves. And I did have a handful of women that got a nice little surprise gift.
So this is great. As you said, it's going to put a smile on your face or your significant other's face. And it's one of those things, too, especially now. And I've been thinking a lot more about it. Just especially in the summer, you're out in the sun. Maybe you're not putting on enough sunscreen on your face. You're not thinking of those situations. So there's all kinds of factors that can go into needing to take care of yourself.
I mean, and then it's just the small things that people don't realize, that sometimes they're neglecting to put on, a moisturizer, or of course, sun protection is one of the biggest ones. So I usually, if I have tons of it at the shop, I'll give out samples throughout the full summertime when somebody goes in for a service, and just kind of remind them of the importance of using that.
Yeah, so our sweet deal today, you get $150 for just $75. You need to jump on it. There's 45 deals available. If people want to look at what you guys can do, where you guys are located, where can they check you out?
So they can easily get onto skinandsoul.glassgenius.com. I always say that so weird. Or they could just either Google Skin and Soul. The website will pop up. It'll give you links to the full scheduling portal, the full service menu. So that's really convenient to see, because it actually gives you like the description of all the services as well as the pricing, so that there's no surprises when you come in.
No surprises, just surprise yourself.
Yes.
And feel better about yourself. Rachel, we appreciate it. This sweet deal, I know it's going to be big, as you said. It's an opportunity to have a nice gift for yourself or your significant other.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rachel. That is our sweet deal. It goes live on our website, sportsanimalabq.com at 9 a.m. Check it out. We continue after this. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Delays and a northbound crash.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here, and I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal.
So August 24th, Bronco Mendenhall, new head coach, the Lobos, takes his team on the field at University Stadium to take on Montana State. Just 5 home games this season, but it is the year of turnover in the Mountain West Conference. Jeff Tedford announces that he's stepping down at Fresno State yesterday due to his health. She had Fresno State to the list of schools that have a new head coach. So you're sitting there going, man, Troy Calhoun, yeah, he's the longest tenured coach at Air Force. Jay Norvell, been in the league since 2017. Heck no, Timmy Chang, just at Hawaii, feels like an old man in the conference just after a few seasons due to the turnover. But that means there's an opportunity, there's a chance, because you put all those helmets into that Yahtzee cup, shake it up, roll it out, and that's how you could decide what could happen in the Mountain West Conference this season. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. J.J. Buck, joined by the former Lobo linebacker, Cy Riley. This morning, just wrapped up 4 years at the University of New Mexico. Bobcat holding it down, producing. Of course, you can watch the show as well on ProView Networks with Adrian holding it down over there. You know, Cy, this is a completely different roster than the one you were on. 60 new players on this team, 17 offensive linemen, all the turnover. That's going to happen when you have a coaching change, and that is also just kind of par for the course in college sports now. But 60 is a pretty high number. But you mentioned some of the names that are coming back, and especially at quarterback, Devin Dampier. What is it about Devin that he can be the guy that this program hasn't had in a while, and that is a consistent force at the quarterback position?
Well, I think the first thing is that he's homegrown. You know, over the past couple of years, we've had transfer quarterbacks come in, you know, not saying that they weren't good or, you know, we weren't thankful for what they were able to bring to the team. It's just a little bit different because now, again, we have a homegrown talent, somebody who's been under the program for a year. Everybody loves Devin. You know, Devin's a great dude. His character, his personality, everybody loves and tends to draw into that. And then when it comes on to the field of play, he has all the talent. He has the legs, he has the explosiveness, he has the arm talent, the QB progression read. Yeah, and he just excels when he has the ball in his hands. I think everybody was able to see a little bit of that against Boise State. You know, when Dylan goes down, here comes this true freshman. And, of course, as we've played Boise State before, on the Big Blue, without, our starting quarterback, the same quarterback that started the season for us. I'm talking about 2021. It's a little bit different. The game just completely got lopsided, and last year we were able to stick around and actually hang with him. And he's a freshman, so now that he has an entire off season to spend with, new coaches, even though it is a new system, he's spending the whole year. He took every single rep during, spring football practice. Being able to see what it's like to go through a college off season and have some of the same tools and weapons around him that he had last year, man, this dude's going to take off. Yeah, and I think, it's what you said. You had, Terry Wilson, Miles Kendrick, Dylan Hopkins. You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, getting a veteran quarterback in for one season, and it's just never really clicked, and those guys have the skills. Terry Wilson, you don't just win games in the SEC by accident. Yeah. But,
you come in and the offensive line wasn't quite right, or the weapons around it. And Miles Kendrick got banged up a little bit when he came in over from Kansas. And now what you're hoping, the challenge is you lost some really good offensive linemen in the portal, and you tip your cap because they got the opportunity. The offensive tackles going to Big Ten, CJ James going to UTSA for that opportunity, and it's going to be about protection. And you have 17 offensive linemen come in. And Bronco Mendenhall, he joined us on the show last week, and he knows that there's a lot of uncertainty, but of 17, you got to feel like you can find 5 that can mold together and be good. One of the things, though, that as we talk about Devin Dampier protecting the quarterback and the weapons, that Bronco did say that jumped out is, he thinks that this defensive line, some of the talent that they have on it, can really be a difference maker. And you being that linebacker, how big would that be to find some impact guys up front next year?
It's very funny because Kyler Drake, who's also, my roommate, is, I think everybody's looking at him to have a spectacular year. He has all the tangibles that he needs, the hand-eye coordination, the footwork, the raw strength and power of a dude his size. He's going to be able to not only get into his pass rush, but also be a run fit. Bryce Santana, dude who just set the, school record on squat yesterday at 690 pounds, which is absolutely crazy because we had always talked about, him being able to set the school record. That's been his goal. So for him to finally do it, him, Tyler Keeney at inside at nose tackle position, being able to be a little bit of a run stuffer, get into their pass rush a little bit as well. Gabriel Lopez, you have those dudes Landon. So it's going to be very exciting just to see what the defensive line are going to be able to do, especially within this new system. For us last year running a 3-3-5, you always had an off-the-ball linebacker and then an on-the-ball linebacker in most cases. So, now that they're going to have 4 defensive linemen down who are going to be able to know, okay, I don't have to worry about getting into coverage. I can just go attack the quarterback. I can just go fit my gaps. I can just go ahead and be the point of attack. So it's going to be very interesting and different for all 4 of those positions. And, that's one thing that is going to excite me even more with Coach Nick Howell, being able to see what he's been able to bring over from the SEC, install it here in the Mountain West Conference. And, yeah, it's going to be very fun when you're playing against formidable offensive line like Air Force and Wyoming, Boise State, as always. So it's going to be interesting.
It is. And for the Lobos, maybe it feels like just a bit more opportunity because the uncertainty, and I know I overuse that word, but that's what it is, because you just don't know with the turnover. But then look at the coaching turnover in the Mountain West, and you understand that there's still a lot of turnover with those rosters. And I don't think Fresno State is going to see a fall off with Tim Skipper. I think the big thing is they ended the season with Skipper as the interim head coach last year. They won a bowl game, so there's that trust there. I don't think you're going to see a mass exodus from the players. And you wonder, too, if some of that was calculated by Jeff Tedford of getting to this point in the calendar of knowing, maybe he was 50-50 throughout the summer, tried to go in, but you get to this point and hopefully you've built enough trust within your roster that even with Jeff Tedford stepping down, which would open a 30-day transfer window, when the head coach is fired or leaves, the transfer portal opens back up for that team. And it's up 30 days. But I think that we won't see a lot of turnover from Fresno State right now.
No, I don't expect a lot of players to enter the portal. You know, obviously I hope Coach Tedford is not something that's too serious that he's dealing with. But no, I don't expect a lot of players from Fresno to enter the transfer portal just because, again, of the timing of it. You know, had this been in season, well, you know, obviously players can't transfer and then go play right away, so they would have to wait anyways. But with it being right before fall camp, you know, teams don't really have that much roster availability because, again, you're not going to have that from all the other teams and schools that are out there. You're not going to have those players entering the transfer portal just because. So, yeah, I expect a lot of their roster to stay the same. No big names to move just because of the timing of the situation. And I think if he was 50-50, you know, going into the summer, this is the perfect time to do it because, again, he doesn't want to leave Coach Skipper with, you know, a team that doesn't want to be there or, you know, with the same assets and tools that he had the previous season. So, yeah, I think this is a great situation for Coach Skipper. Obviously, we all hope that, you know, with the health issues that Coach Tedford is dealing with isn't serious and, you know, he's able to recover or, you know, go through whatever medical process that he needs to go through in order to, you know, have a sustained healthy life. But yeah, if I'm a Fresno State fan, I'm not worrying too much. But again, it's just a little bit saddening to see your head coach leave.
And Tedford, 2 Mountain West titles, 45 wins in his time in 2 stints at Fresno State. But they're still going to be formidable in the Mountain West Conference. And I still think they can be the second best team. But it is opportunity. That's why they play the game. Fresno State will be the Lobos' first Mountain West opponent. It will be Game 4 of the season right here in Albuquerque at University Stadium. So what do you think about just the chances, the opportunity that's there for a lot of Mountain West football teams with the turnover in the conference? 505-246-0610 is Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. We come back on the other side. Vegas Summer League, there was a Lobo connection. Of course, Bronny was on the floor, but the headlines were made by the dude sitting courtside. Oh, what did this NBA superstar do? We'll get into that next here on The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by All.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange, the latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here, and I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the minutes. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part,
so that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is
an extended take because we smashed into the 8 o'clock hour. But Summer League last night, Celtics and Lakers, and there was buzz. Well, yes, Bronny James was on the floor, and you're going to see every highlight of Bronny James, whether he makes or misses a shot. Also, Jaylen Brown, your NBA Finals MVP champion. He's been chirping a little bit. He was upset that he was not added to the Team USA roster. His teammate Derek White was, and so we had to clear the air on that a bit. But the viral moment that was posted last night on social media is what Jaylen Brown is talking about this morning. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. J.J. Buck, joined by Cy Riley. So Jaylen Brown just sitting courtside, taking in the game last night. And the clip that was on social media, and lip readers have said, oh, this is what Jaylen said. Because it wasn't audio with it. It was just, oh, look who's sitting courtside, Jaylen Brown. Angel Reese. And Jaylen Brown was air quoted by the lip reader saying Bronny is not a pro. Okay, not shocking that we know that right now, but it's an NBA superstar. He's sitting courtside Celtics Lakers Summer League game, so it's going to get a lot of buzz. So Jaylen Brown then quote tweets that this morning, and he says, "It's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth." So, Brown doing a little PR on himself, but Jaylen Brown's not saying anything isn't thinking or saying out loud right now. Yeah. Bronny is raw. He did not play a lot of college basketball. He is young. He hasn't had a lot of good moments in Summer League, and he's not wrong. He's just saying what we all know. Yes, he is not a pro. He's not close right now. And I think that's why you also saw Bronny acknowledge over the weekend that he's willing to play basketball at whatever level. And that could mean the G League. And that was such a taboo thing to say because Rich Paul didn't want to have any of that with a two-way contract before getting him drafted to the Lakers and signing that guaranteed deal. But the dude just needs to play basketball.
Yeah. And there's going to be always a bigger adjustment that needs to be had when you go from college to the pros in any sport. So, when you look at a guy like Bronny, he's going to need that time. His body's not fully grown. He hasn't fully came into who he is yet in terms of his body. His style of play is going to be a little bit different. We're not asking him to go out and score 15, 20, 30 points like his dad does walking into. But it's just going to be a little bit different course and journey for him. I think it's funny that, Jaylen Brown in his quote, he neither said that's what he said. Like, he didn't apologize, but he's saying, hey, he has all the tools. I might have said this, but I might have not have said this. So I think, again, Lakers-Celtics rivalry just keeps getting renewed. I don't think Bob Cousy and George Mikan would have known that it would have been like this when it started way back in the 40s.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Jaylen Brown didn't deny it. He's just like, yeah, he's got the tools to grow. We know that, but it's going to be hyped up, everything Bronny does, because when everyone is putting it out there in Summer League, it's a realization of the challenges that are ahead. We'll dive more into this and also the Lobo that was on the floor last night in Summer League. A few minutes for the Celtics. And coming up next, our conversation with the former Lobo great, the point guard, Darius Gary. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This is Boomer Science with the Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife, and our...
We did see 2 sons of former champions on the floor last night in the Vegas Summer League. Bronny James, Lakers. Jalen House played 3 minutes off the bench for the Boston Celtics. Jalen on the Celtics Summer League roster, of course, his dad, Eddie, champion with the Boston Celtics. Now, Eddie has pull, didn't have that kind of pull to get Jalen drafted, but he got him on the Summer League roster. I know Jalen did it himself with his performance, especially being MVP of the Mountain West tournament when the Lobos won 4 games in 4 days in Las Vegas to win the NCAA automatic bid. But it was good to see Jalen, get a little bit of action last night, and all eyes were on that game because of Bronny James and how everything is going to be hyped. You got Jaylen Brown, the champion, the superstar, the Finals MVP, muttering, "Bronny's not a pro." In the viral video on the sideline, he's not breaking any news. He's saying what we all know. It's going to be a much longer road for Bronny James to get there, because I don't even know if he, let alone the Lakers, know what he's supposed to be. He's 6'1", but he doesn't play point guard. He's not shooting the ball well at all right now from anywhere on the floor, and it's just going to be a long process, but it's one that just don't spin it. Yes, we know why you have this, and it's okay because your dad is LeBron James. Whether he's a top 3 basketball player all time, top 2 that battle with Michael Jordan, whatever debate you want to have. But I think when you look at this moving forward, it's Bronny accepting what it's going to be like, Bronny accepting maybe playing some G League basketball, because at this point, just for the young man, he just has to get out there and play. Everything he overcame to get to this point, whether he was drafted by the Lakers or not, is big. Overcoming a heart condition where you collapse and then you're able to come back and be an athlete is huge. And I think most people in this situation want the best for Bronny. You can have a real conversation without bashing the kid, which I think it's a comment like Jaylen Brown just sitting there going, yeah, that dude's not a pro yet. And you understand why. He just has to get out there and play basketball. But then it's everything that you can't deny everything that's wrapped up in this story. You are the son of LeBron James. He got you drafted to the Lakers. He got you that contract. That's the reality of it. Now, trying to deal with that and become better as a player, that is a heck of a world to be living in if you're Bronny James.
Yeah, and he said he wanted to be a Derek White or a Lou Dort player comparison. You're for the Boston Celtics, you're not asking Derek White to score 25. Now, can he? Absolutely, and he can shoot very efficiently from the three-point range. Oklahoma City Thunder, they have Shai Gilgeous, they have Chet. They have players and pieces that they don't need that scoring from Lou Dort. Kind of a 3-and-D, but more so on the defense. And Bronny has already shown that potential on the defensive side to get his hand onto the ball, to get in the passing lanes, show good presence, be able to battle against a big to get, big rebounds. So, yeah, he has the defensive prowess already that his father, has, obviously being LeBron James. Everybody remembers the chase down that he had against Andre Iguodala and the amount of space that he can take up in 3 steps. So yeah, Bronny's not going to be the type of offensive player that his father is, but right now I think it's just about him getting the reps, getting his feet underneath him, being able to see what it's like to play NBA basketball and not play half of a season at USC.
Yeah, you need play, you need reps, you need opportunity. And Bronny understands that. That's why he started to say he's just ready to play at whatever level that will be, because he's locked in. He has his contract with the Lakers, and we'll see moving forward. I mentioned Jalen House got an opportunity, but just over 3 minutes off the bench for the Boston Celtics last night in that Summer League game. And maybe Jalen House is a player down the line that we'll see participating in the TBT or Lobo alumni game that's going down tonight at the Pit. Doors open at 4:30. There's autograph sessions. There's some youth all-star games. There's a 3-point shootout. And then it is the Enchantment, the TBT team, with the New Mexico flair, coached by Kenny Thomas. They're playing the Lobo alumni team. So we're going to see Alex Kirk, Tony Snell, Kendall Williams, among others, back in town tonight for this exhibition game at the Pit. Tickets on sale. Now get out there and just enjoy it. And, of course, the memories of former Lobos. We heard from Amon Martinez earlier today, and he got choked up. And he was talking about the loss of his friend Drew Gordon and what Drew meant to him. But, you have Ruben Douglas, the memory of Ruben Douglas, Greg Brown, who passed away. He was, all 3 of those players, not just special for Lobo basketball, but the impact that they've had in the community in Albuquerque and New Mexico. There's a lot going on tonight at the Pit. Another one of those players that won't be on the Enchantment, but playing the Lobo alumni and doing big things in the Albuquerque community is Darius Gary. And I had a chance to talk with the former point guard, the Lobo great. Here with former Lobo point guard Darius Gary, back at where he dominated, the Lobo legend, standing here on the pit floor. You guys are getting ready to play the Enchantment, a little TBT game, but a lot of emotions just surrounding this week overall with the passing of some former Lobo greats. But what's it like just for you to be able to get back together with so many of these guys and be on this court?
Man, it's good, man. I miss all my brothers. We try to keep in contact as best as we can, but something like this just to come back and represent and acknowledge, the grace that, has fallen and passed away, it's a huge deal to us.
Yeah, and I guess this is just really one thing that stands out to me just getting to walk down here is this kind of what it's all about. You guys, when you come to the University of Mexico, you compete as student athletes, but it's bonds that you build for life, and you kind of see that through basketball right now.
Yeah, man, it's lifetime bonds, man. I still talk to some of these guys every day, every other day. We try to make plans and get together. Just to come down here, walking down the ramp and being on the floor brings back so many memories that no one can take from us. We set records, we won games, we accomplished a lot of stuff together. So just to come back and just be together, man, it means everything to me.
You have so many of those moments talking with Darius Gary. Is there one that when you think about this building, it comes to the top, or is it just like you cycle through all the things you did?
Man, there's a lot of them, man, from practices to having BYU on the floor. You're ranked, they're ranked, and beating them, San Diego State coming in, just those top teams being ranked and just, coming and just defending this place, having a win streak, one of the top in the nations, and just defending it in, night out, man. Sometimes it's just unreal to think about.
Of course, you guys, you're going to be out here warming up with the Enchantment tomorrow, but for you, people haven't been following you. What have you been up to?
I was in Indiana for a while, played overseas, went back to Indiana, coached a little bit. Now I'm back working with Brandon Mason, and with the ABC, coaching them. I have my kids that's playing. I have a son that's about to go to college to Langston University. My oldest daughter is pretty good right now. She's 13. She's playing 15 EYBL. She's doing pretty good. Starting to get noticed a little bit. I have 2 younger ones that's going to come up after her. So, life is good. It's busy. I'm still a part of basketball, so I'm happy.
What's it like getting to share that experience with your kids through sports?
Oh, man, it's amazing, man. For just to come back here and hearing people talk about me and my kids, hearing them, for my kids to see that I have accomplished something, I've been a part of something. It gives them something to look forward to. It gives them something to reach for. So, it's all good. Like I said, my daughter she's pretty good. She's going to do big things. My son's going to play football, so I think he's going to do big things. And, me being able to set a goal for them to surpass it's all good to me.
I know people will definitely be watching that last name, man. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, catching up with Darius Gary out there. He's working with the ABC Prep Academy recently with Brandon Mason, working with all the youth. And it's just a smile that Darius Gary got talking about his kids. That's what it's all about. He just mentioned his son's going to go play some football. His daughter is really good. Already, I think I saw on social media, got an offer from UNLV. She's 13. Wow. Playing with 15-year-olds right now. And of course, UNLV, if you've been following our conference on the women's side, they've won it the last 2 years. They are the team to beat. Lindy LaRocque out there has a really good program going. And to get an offer like that, you definitely have to have some talent. I know it's coming. Lobo fans going, well, where's Mike Bradbury in this? Where's that offer? Well, I don't think it would be far away to try to keep a homegrown player like that, especially as she develops. But it's just great seeing everyone out there yesterday for the practice. A lot more Lobos will filter in alumni today for that game tonight in the Enchantment versus the Lobo alumni warming up for the basketball tournament. As I was sitting there thinking those sides, like, do we need to get a 7-on-7 going? How can we get football involved in this? What do we got to do?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of pulled hamstrings if you get all of the Lobo. Football is such a violent sport, so I think 7-on-7 would be cool. You would definitely get but the offensive lineman and D lineman would be very upset, like, bro, what can we do? And I'm like, maybe we could do it out of position 7-on-7, where you have a center playing quarterback and a quarterback playing center. So that would be cool.
Well, maybe we'll put that on the to-do list. We can get an event going like that for football, but it's just the memories. And Darius Gary, he came in first year of Steve Alford, and he was that point guard for 4 years that raised the ceiling once again for Lobo basketball. That what Steve Alford did, getting that team back to the NCAA tournament, the run that he had before he took the job at UCLA, and Darius Gary was instrumental in that. It's the point guard that came from Indiana to the University of New Mexico when Steve Alford took over, and Darius Gary was a linchpin. If you ever watched Darius Gary play, remember the dude was a bulldog. He'd score inside, get to the basket, really good facilitator, and he helped set the tone for that era of basketball. And we're seeing that tone be set once again with Richard Pitino and what Jalen House was able to do, Jamal Mashburn Jr., and now moving forward, speaking of guards, Donovan Dent coming back, and the kind of the passing of the torch as Donovan will be the leader for Lobo basketball next season. But it'll be fun tonight to see all those guys out there at the pit. Of course, tickets on sale now. You can go out, enjoy it, remembering some Lobo greats, but also getting a chance to see some former Lobos on the floor as the Enchantment gets ready for the TBT. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline and Sports Animal text line this morning. So what is going to happen? Who is Davante Adams going to be catching passes from? Because when Aaron Rodgers starts talking, he's making some more noise than just saying, hey, he was my good friend. Is there a chance that Davante Adams could be on the move? We'll get into that next. It's Opening Drive here on 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Congratulations to Jeff Symbieta and
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay. Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own.
We know Aaron Rodgers has some pull with the New York Jets. We know Aaron Rodgers is the savior. He will fix any air, anything ailing the New York Jets. That's what we've been told. Once he got hurt, they're saying, hey, once Aaron comes back, it's all good. New York Jets, we know, formidable defense, exciting pieces in the offense. Breece Hall is the game breaker. And Garrett Wilson can be a legit wide receiver one. I think good things are in store for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets because Aaron doesn't have to be good, and the Jets are going to be competitive. But Aaron is starting to drop hints that maybe he does want a reunion with his BFF, Davante Adams. And with some of the clips that we've seen on social media over the last week, stuff coming out from the way that Davante Adams felt last year, early year in Vegas, could something be brewing? And would you make that trade if you're the Las Vegas Raiders? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck joined by the former Lobo linebacker, Cy Riley. So Davante Adams, despite the questions at quarterback last year, went from Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell. This year, it's going to be Aiden O'Connell versus Gardner Minshew. He still put up back-to-back 100-catch seasons in Vegas. The dude had 103 receptions, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. This is a good year for Davante Adams. But he still wants to win. And my initial reaction to this is, no, you don't trade Davante Adams. He's still at the top of his game. Yes, he's 31 years old, but we're seeing that window for receivers extend a little bit longer with the way the game is played, the expectations that are put on the receiver position in the NFL. Then I took a step back. And if I'm at the Las Vegas Raiders, knowing that, Adams is still kind of at that awkward point where he's going to want another kind of guaranteed deal, re-up, get an extension. Do you want to go all in on him, or do you try to force the hand of the Jets and see how anxious Aaron Rodgers is and see how much push or pull he'd have in that organization? And you start big, go, oh, you want Davante Adams, just send us a first-round pick. And if they go, no, we're not doing that, start working the game a little bit. Maybe get a second-round pick, a third-round pick next year for the Las Vegas Raiders, who are in a transition. Yes, Antonio Pierce, head coach. You have Brock Bowers, new foundational piece there. I would actually entertain trading Davante Adams to the Jets if Aaron Rodgers is antsy and you could pry some high picks out of them. How do you feel about that side?
Well, if I'm a Raiders fan, I would hate that. Just because you don't know what you're going to get quarterback play-wise. Gardner has been proven that he can be a starting quarterback in this league, a very good backup if he needs to be as well. You don't really know what you're getting from Aiden O'Connell. Everybody hears the name Aiden O'Connell, and it's not like, hey, yeah, like, let's go. It's kind of like, oh, whoa, let's pump the brakes.
So, he's like a fourth-round pick out of Purdue, so he's going into a second season. Yeah,
so it's like, you're not sure what you're gonna get. And Davante Adams on in Netflix's wide receiver show, he said he doesn't have a lot of time, and his journey is trying to hoist the championship, the Lombardi Trophy. So if I'm looking at the Raiders, for him it is a better situation to go to New York and be with Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback that he has helped create into an MVP, winner in the back half of his stretch. Davante being all-pro wide receiver for, it seems like, since he got in the league pretty much. He is still paired with, the defense that the Raiders have in Max Crosby and Christian Wilkinson from, what he's been doing in Miami for the Raiders to get him. So it's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic defensively for the Raiders. But if I'm Davante Adams, if the season's not going how we want it to go, and AP's trying his hardest and doing the best. If they're sitting the season and they get to week 7 and they're 3-3, 3-4, I can look at an Aaron Rodgers trade.
Well, I could, see Devontae putting a little bit more pressure right now because Aaron is opening that door. Yeah, he's saying, oh, yeah, of course, I'd love to throw passes to Devontae Adams again. But this would actually make sense for the Jets with where they are right now, is that they were able to keep their first-round pick last year. They drafted an offensive lineman because they have to protect Aaron Rodgers. And this is kind of your going all-in window. And if you could pry away Devontae Adams, or say a second-round pick, maybe like a second and fourth-round pick, bring Devontae Adams over from the Raiders, like this would be the time to kind of spin that extra, to go over the top, because you do have a defense that they've added quality pieces to. You look at Sauce Gardner locked in, the first-round picks that they have in the front 7 that have hit, and now all of a sudden you have Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson, with Mike Williams, who could be your number 3, your field stretcher as he came over from the Chargers, Devontae Adams, Breece Hall. You're feeling a lot different about the Jets. Like with Devontae Adams, like you think the Jets are going to be competitive. Listen, I think the Jets are going to be competitive, but then you add Devontae Adams, and then you have to legitimately say, oh, could this be, is that a move that puts them in the conversation with Buffalo and Baltimore and Kansas City, the teams that we view as, and Cincinnati with the healthy Joe Burrow, AFC championship teams?
Yeah. It's for a wide receiver this year, this is about to be so interesting because not only do you have Devontae, not sure who's going to be throwing him the ball. You look in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, you're not sure who's going to be throwing him the ball. Is it going to be J.J. McCarthy? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? With the Philadelphia Eagles, you're still working. Is Jalen Hurts going to be able to get his numbers back up to Devontae Smith, to A.J. Brown? And then, with the Rams, same thing. Cooper Kupp kind of coming back off of an injury. Puka has, solidified himself as he could be a viable number 1 option. So for a wide receiver, this is about to be a completely cultivating and captivating year because you just don't know who's going to stand out, what everybody's numbers are going to be. Justin Jefferson doesn't have a quarterback that we can say, okay, he's going to get, Justin Jefferson 1,500 yards and, 20 touchdowns, because then, are we going to ask that from Sam Darnold? Are we going to expect that from J.J. McCarthy? Same thing with Devontae Adams, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. Are they going to be the quarterbacks that can get him the ball in the right space so that he can do damage like he normally does? So, yeah, if I'm a wide receiver this year, I'm number 1, I'm gonna try and be the quarterback's best friends, but number 2, like, am I in the right situation, like a Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, situation? Matthew Stafford, he could go to Puka or Cooper Kupp. So am I in the right situation to make sure that I can get the ball in space and flourish?
Yeah, this is definitely the perfect time to be a top-tier wide receiver in the league. We know the elite talent is getting paid. Jamar Chase is going to be next. You mentioned that wide receiver bubble, the development of a roster, and are we seeing the trend? Is it going to be try to find that elite wide receiver 1 who's going to end up getting paid and try to build off of that? Because it's a situation that Miami is dealing with because of the quarterback contract that's coming up. And you mentioned New Minnesota, how they have Justin Jefferson and then a young receiver in Jordan Addison. Or you look at the Cowboys have an elite number 1 and then some questions after that. Is the wide receiver bubble about to pop in the NFL? And who are those players that could take you over the top? We'll get into that next. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get ready to step into the ring of excitement.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez.
Oh, we know the NFL, football, takes so much to win. In the fantasy world that we live in, we get caught up quarterbacks, wide receivers, PPR numbers, the contracts that have been paid this offseason, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown. There's so much more that goes into it. And that's why I do think we're seeing the wide receiver bubble. The next one isn't always going to be the biggest one. And if you're Brandon Ayuk in the 49ers, you put up a top 10 season, 7th in the NFL in receiving yards, you're like, why aren't you paying me $30 million per year? But then there's that question of, okay, I think you can really only pay one wide receiver big time money, but then how do you have enough offensive weapons? And we're going to see just how much a good quarterback can make good players great, or is that a great quarterback making good players great? I think we're going to see a fascinating case study with the Chargers. I am a Justin Herbert fan. I think Justin Herbert is Matthew Stafford 2.0. Now, the Chargers, they feel different because of Jim Harbaugh. They've been a franchise you look at and just haven't been able to put the pieces together. Everyone was looking at Brandon Staley, and it kind of gave Justin Herbert a pass. Well, now you have Jim Harbaugh, who's won everywhere he's been, coming off a national championship at Michigan, but you go back to his time in San Francisco leading the 49ers to the Super Bowl. So there's no more excuses coaching-wise for Justin Herbert, but then there's the offense, and you look around and go, where did all the playmakers go? And so that's a case of what people believe is right now, you look at the ESPN survey of NFL execs, the sixth best quarterback in the league. So you're talking about someone that could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Does he raise the bar? Does he take good offensive players and make them great? Versus some of the other situations, say in Miami, where you have great skill position players and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle playing off that, and a good quarterback in Tua that is now hoping to get paid. It's the opening drive, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. JJ Buck, former Lobo linebacker, Cy Riley, with us. And you look at this landscape, and you're just naming off all these quarterback wide receiver combos. And we know the game is so much more than that, but it does feel like kind of a tipping point at the wide receiver position just in terms of the mega contracts we're seeing be paid out. And now teams trying to make that decision going, okay, are we going to pay one wide receiver that much money, or do you try to spread it around?
Yeah, it's resetting the market, right? When you have a guy that's Justin Jefferson's caliber, most yards through 3 years for a wide receiver in NFL history. When you have a guy like that, he's going to expect the most amount of money so that, again, if when Puka's contract comes up and he has all these accolades, he can get even more, which then pushes the salary cap, which pushes the franchise tag up so that these players are getting paid even more. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, you get put in a situation, is Tua the quarterback that you see going forward? Do you need Tyreek Hill that bad where you're going to pay him, the highest amount of guaranteed money or even push your salary cap against the brink because you need a guy of his value? That's why when you get these first contracts and you want to do the draft right or get these free agents right so that you can get a steal so that you're not always having to pay the guy the most amount of money in order to have a good roster, in order to have the best team. If you can get a third round or a fourth round draft pick and they can produce on some level, any level that's comparable to a guy that's earning $15-20 million a year, and he's only earning, your draft pick's only earning $2 million, a year, is only counting that much against your salary cap. That's what they're going to tend to go for, so that they have the leverage and they can have both a Tua or a Tyreek, or you can get in the case of Kansas City, you can have Patrick Mahomes for 10 years, close to $500 million, and still be able to sign Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and all these other football players that you need in order to win championships.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's what do you have? What kind of quarterback are you working with? And then protecting that quarterback, giving him enough weapons to succeed, because there's plenty of good quarterback play in the league. But then the question is, what do you invest in the skill position players? That's why I think this year it's going to show a lot in terms of what you need, because you do look at Justin Herbert and people believe in the talent, but he doesn't necessarily have the players. And then there's other quarterbacks that good, maybe not elite, but they have the players, and it's a prove it season for so many. I think we're seeing Miami kind of state their claim is that they believe in Tua, but they don't want to make Tua $55-60 million a year quarterback, which that's a business decision. If you don't want to do that, that's what negotiations are for. And if you can't come to an agreement, that's when sides move on, or that's when players hit free agency. But I think what we are going to see is the elite players got paid elite money. And when it comes to a Brandon Ayuk, I think Tyreek Hill is going to get a nice chunk of guaranteed money after this season to be happy. But the Brandon Ayuks of the world, even T. Higgins, who he's playing on the franchise tag, and then he's going to go, hopefully, in his mind, go get paid big money. It's just not going to happen just because you're the next one. And I think teams see that shift is they'll invest if they believe they have an elite wide receiver one in that guy, but understanding that if you have a wide receiver and quarterback soaking up that much of your salary cap, that is not a recipe to be successful when in terms of winning in the postseason, winning long term.
Yeah, especially when you don't believe. You look at a New York Giants, they're paying Daniel Jones more than $40 million a year. And I think everybody can agree Daniel Jones, to this point in time, is not worth $40 million plus. He hasn't had the body of work that shows, okay, you need to be paid top dollar. And then you let a guy like Saquon Barkley, who, again, he has the track record, he has the accolades, he has the stats, he has the touchdowns, he has the, team leadership capabilities, but you let him walk because, again, they don't want to pay $15 million a year for a running back when they, in their minds, they believe, okay, we can get another guy that can give a similar production at a lesser value. So when you think about a T. Higgins, coming out next year, he's being franchise tagged this year. Same thing with Brandon Ayuk. If they're not able to work with a trade with the 49ers, any team is, you're going to see them searching for these viable options in terms of salary cap numbers. But again, if those teams don't have the quarterback that can pair with these wide receivers, they're going to be out of luck, you know. And we're talking about millions of dollars here. Like, you know, nickel and diamond, $20 million is $20 million, you know, compared to $2 million is $2 million. But for a guy like T. Higgins or Brandon Ayuk, those guys that have had the statistical seasons that they've had that garnered increase in pay, it's going to be tough luck if those teams that are able to make those salary cap obligations don't want to, because they don't have the quarterback in place that they need.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's you need the quarterback, but then you also need the skill position players to make the quarterback look good, because there's a select few. That's why they're at the top. When we say the word elite, it is reserved for a select few at the quarterback position. There's plenty of good quarterbacks in the league, and it's about finding that balance. And I think the league is kind of having that back and forth right now of, you know, everything has shifted towards the offense and knowing you need to invest around your quarterback to be successful, but the majority of that investment just can't be at wide receiver. There's so much more that goes into it, and it is a fascinating time when you look at the guys that got paid. And yeah, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're going to back it up, but those franchises, well, until this offseason, you look at Minnesota, you know, we're stable enough at the other positions. And that's the beauty of football. When we talk about building teams, the different ways you can go about it, how to handle the salary cap, the big time contracts, and it matters. And sometimes I know it's mind numbing just as a sports fan when we sit here and talk so much about these big numbers, but that affects the team that you root for. That affects what they can do when they're trying to put a winner together that you root for on Sundays. 505-246-0610 Sports Animal Hotline and text line for you to get in this morning. We come back on the other side. So was it the Clippers? Was it Team USA? Little drama there, and should we be concerned when it comes to Kawhi Leonard? But why is Kevin Durant still there? A little Team USA drama. That's next here on the Sports Animal.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Sports Minute.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like and shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often alcohol is involved.
Well, yeah, yesterday in Abu Dhabi, Olympics opening ceremonies just 2 weeks away. Team USA, men's basketball, out there. Sent Kawhi Leonard home. Derek White came in. Jaylen Brown, we were discussing him, talking about Bronny James. Well, he's still adamant that he's not on Team USA because of Nike. Now, Jaylen Brown doesn't have a shoe deal with anyone right now, so he's a free agent, but he's still blaming that Nike sponsors Team USA for not putting him on the team. But he said he did call his teammates that he just won a championship with, Derek White, and say no hard feelings. He just really wants to be on Team USA. Well, the moves that Team USA made that opened the door for Derek White to get there was sending Kawhi Leonard home. And Kawhi missed the end of this season dealing with the knee, leg injuries. But he was locked in, ready to go. The Clippers apparently were fine with him being there. But Team USA didn't quite feel like Kawhi was ready to go, and they sent him home. Well, the Clippers, not on the same page. The opening drive, JJ Buck joined by Cy Riley this morning. Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank said yesterday, quote, "The team was very disappointed with USA's basketball's decision to replace Kawhi Leonard on the Olympic team." And you're thinking, that's interesting. I think that there's cautious optimism with a lot of these teams when it comes to their players playing the Olympics. And you would think with Kawhi Leonard not being on the floor in the postseason, not being available, the Clippers would be okay with this. But they're saying no. This was Kawhi wanted to play, wanted to show he's healthy, and this was a Team USA decision, not a Clippers decision to pull him out. So there's the little he said in this. No, I'm wondering, Si, when I read this headline, the Clippers were like, "Oh, we were fine with it. We didn't think Kawhi needed to come home." Was there something that Team USA saw that the Clippers not willing to admit with Kawhi Leonard, given the fact they did just sign him at $300 or $150 million extension? Because they're keeping Kevin Durant around, and Kevin Durant hasn't played or practiced yet because of that sore calf. So they're allowing KD to stick around, but they sent Kawhi home. Yeah,
this is a very difficult situation because when USA released their statement, as a average fan and reader, before anything else came out, we were like, oh, okay, it's with the Clippers. Maybe the Clippers reached out to them and was like, hey, let's not play him, because we need him and there's a cause for concern over an injury. Okay, USA Basketball complied and they decided to part ways. But then when the president comes out and he's like, oh, I'm not sure that that's what we wanted. He was very adamant about playing. He looked good. It's a very difficult situation. If I don't necessarily think something happened on the Clipper side, I think maybe this was a USA Basketball decision to move away, and they're trying to push it on to the Clippers as if, the Clippers have a problem with him playing. And that's mainly because, load management. The Clippers have allowed Kawhi Leonard to load manage him, Paul George, even though Paul George played, over 70 games this past year. Like, they've put that system in place for him. So I think maybe this is USA Basketball moving this over to the Clipper side, because then everybody's going to understand, or at least know why, have a reason as to why to speculate, it's the Clippers. But no, I think that this is USA Basketball's decision, maybe a personnel, change that they just didn't like the way that Kawhi was practicing or rehabbing or whatever the case may be. I don't know. Maybe him and Steve Kerr just didn't get along, or yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point in there, too, because you look at Steve Kerr, who has a relationship with Kevin Durant, won championships in Golden State with KD. So are they giving him a little bit longer of a leash to come back from his calf injury, which I was sitting there, and if you're flying overseas, you're 2 weeks away from starting Olympic play, and KD's not ready, I would think, like, wouldn't he be next? Like, wouldn't I be more worried about Kevin Durant not being available? And if I'm the Suns, knowing everything that Kevin Durant has overcome over the last few years, given the fact he's 36 years old, I would be more concerned than, or as concerned as the Clippers would be, just with the health of my star player. And that's why it's really an interesting dynamic. There's always going to be drama when there's that many stars together on Team USA. But it was one that caught my attention with the Clippers being so adamant that they wanted to see Kawhi Leonard play. And I think some of that, too, is you want Kawhi to have that confidence back, even because he's not playing 40 minutes per game in the Olympics. So I think that's why, if you're Lawrence Frank, you're the Clippers, you're okay with this, because Kawhi Leonard at this point is not, a mainstay in the rotation for Team USA Basketball.
Yeah.
So he's not going to soak up all those minutes, but just get him out there confident back on the floor. So I could see where they would be okay with it. It's just surprising. You have that little back and forth, and it just makes you think, was there something that the Clippers don't want to admit? Was there something that Team USA saw, right? As you said, is maybe Team USA was just trying to pass off the blame of realizing Kawhi just doesn't fit right now, and so we want to say he's hurt.
Yeah, and Team USA, they're doing, when they're watching these games, they're doing about a 6-minute rotation. Get guys on the floor for 6 minutes, then put a whole new 5 in. That those guys run for 5. The last game against Australia, the starters, LeBron and Steph Curry, Joel, Anthony Edwards, like they didn't start the second half. That was Bam, D-Book, Tyrese, those guys. So I guess then trying to just get into the rotation, figure out what type of team they want to be. Kawhi Leonard just didn't fit that mold. I don't know, why he wouldn't from a player capability standpoint. Kawhi certainly has the defense. His name's the Claw. And his offensive scoring capabilities is immaculate as well. He can go get you a mid-range jump shot. He can score from 3. He can dunk on you. But again, you're nickel and diming over the greatest players in the world. So you have your fair share of good talent to choose from.
Yeah, that one makes you think sometimes. Was there a little bit something more, or just, hey, they didn't feel Kawhi was a great fit at that point in time and wanted to move on, but didn't want to admit that and just wanted to try to play it off as an injury. But Team USA always making the headlines, as we'll turn our attention, because it's not just Team USA men, it's going to be the Team USA women. They got to deal with that question. Guess what? You didn't put Caitlin Clark on the team. They're going to ask you about that a lot leading up to the Olympics. Something we're going to dive into tomorrow, and we'll tease you with it today. With SEC Media Days yesterday, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, said that the league, they're not recruiting. You come to us. We are the SEC. They don't need to do anything, because the next big decision in college athletics comes down to Florida State and Clemson. Are they able to get out of their grant of rights media deal with the ACC? Because that is locked in until 2036. We're talking big time money. Florida State and Clemson want out. Everyone assumes, they would go to the SEC. Well, Craig Sankey says, no, we're not recruiting anyone. We're good. We are the SEC. Texas, OU coming in. They're stacked. But we know if Florida State and Clemson were on the open market, the SEC would be interested. And I believe zero of what conference commissioners or anyone say at this point in time with it. And it leads to a bigger question that we'll get into tomorrow. But when it comes to Florida State and Clemson, Now, is that just going to be two teams that get out and go to a new conference, or could that create what a lot of people are anticipating is kind of the split, which will just solidify of SBS football itself, of having your kind of super conferences that break away and then everyone else?
Yeah, it's going to be a different, I think the next decade when we really get into 2030s and whatever, I think it's going to be a lot different because, again, you're going to have the Big Ten, you're going to have the SEC, and then you're going to have everybody else. Florida State and Clemson is not in the ACC. I'm not really looking at that conference as a threat to schools like Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, USC, the blue bloods of college football. But we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow because, again, there's so much that changes on the day-to-day. EA football's out, NCAA football's
and
out.
It's back because of changes in college athletics.
Exactly.
The name, image, and likeness opened the door for EA Sports college football coming back. But name, image, and likeness is now pay to play. And do we just admit that these are salary caps for schools? Like, there's so many questions. But I do think, this is a piece to watch because people know it's not done. And there's going to be more shifting. And the thing is football able to kind of break away, and are you able to manage football differently than everything else? Because that's not the way anything has been handled in college athletics, but I think it's the way it might have to go. You can't keep attaching all these schools to these conferences when you do look down and, it's the extreme example, but it's Rutgers, their tennis team or whatever, then having to go to Los Angeles and back and forth. And so would that be the tipping point? And that's something that there's a lot of questions. We'll have our takes and we'll have our answers with it tomorrow, but it is something to watch because Bronco Mendenhall mentioned it last week. He was on the show, the new Lobo football coach. He believes that there's one more gigantic shift in college football coming. And that's why it's just so important to find some stability, to find consistency in your football program and win some games because you just don't know what's going to happen next. So what would be the right move? And you mentioned EA Sports college football. And, man, I know you put in your 4 years at the University of New Mexico. You're rehabbing off an injury. But you could have been in the game, man.
Hey, so I'm in the game.
Oh, you are? So you're on the roster?
Yeah, I don't know how, the EA, NCAA missed it. But yeah, I'm in the game.
Riley's in the game.
I'm in the game. That's crazy. I've never. I said beforehand that if I was in the game, I would buy a hard copy, and 20, 15, 25 years from now, when my son turns 10, we'll open the game and I'll sit down and I'll play it. With him as his father. He could play with his father. But yeah, they actually received the email right before I jumped on that I'm able to download the game now onto my PS5. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Go. That's cool, man. You put in 4 years. I know you're not on this year's roster, but to be a chance to see it, that's got to be an awesome feeling. And that's one of the shifts in college athletics. That's why this is such a big story. And we'll talk about it too, is you being a college athlete amongst all this, but the return of college football, it goes hand in hand with the changes you're seeing in college athletics. Cy Riley, dude, appreciate you waking up.
No, thank you.
Out.
Anytime.
We'll talk more with Cy Riley. We got the Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Coward at 1, 2 men out at 4. Topes and Josh Hushan with you tonight. Everybody, Bobcat, Adrian, thank you for all your hard work.
You're welcome.
And we will be back with you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Meta World Peace and Love. Have a great day.
Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your business or